Is Nicole Rittenmeyer, and we're going to talk about Sherri Papini caught in a lie on the ID channel. Nicole, thanks for stopping by. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. Thanks for having me, Neil.
All right. So, Nicole, kind of, tell us how this got started for you.
Sure, sure. I mean, it was an enormous case, national attention. Everyone was looking for Sherri when she went missing back in 2016, November 2016, during a run. And the world was sort of like anxiously like, what happened to this woman, and was she abducted, was she trafficked? Her husband was going on national media, and then she's returned. She shows up battered, beaten, branded, by the side of the road with a very weird story that the FBI and local police looked into for 5 years before the FBI finally arrests Sherri for lying to them because they say she perpetrated this hoax kidnapping. So she's never spoken to anyone before. We're the very first team she's ever given an interview to, and she has a very different version of events.
Isn't it interesting? There's always two sides of the story. As a documentary filmmaker, that's you, right? You always see two sides of the story in journalists in ways, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And my sort of favorite thing to do is to take a conventional narrative, the story everyone thinks they know, and sort of upend it and dig into it and show you what you didn't know, what got left out, what was, nuanced away. And the story of what happened to Sherri, there's a lot of just outright untruths and fallacies that have been told, and she's never challenged any of them. So it's interesting because she herself is an unreliable narrator. She pleaded guilty to lying to the FBI. So part of what we do is kind of try to sort like what part of what she's saying is real, what might not be true, and can we trust her?
Here's my question. This is very crazy. Is that why didn't she tell her story earlier?
The stakes were very, very high for her. So she wanted to tell, but she wanted to tell what really happened to her. But I think a couple things happened. She had been lying for so long, which she admits now, that when she and enormous resources were spent, people's lives, the FBI agents, the sheriff's investigators devoted their time away from their families to hunt down, go basically they went in the wrong direction. She threw them away from the person who actually did the thing, according to her. So there wasn't a lot of tolerance or patience for her when she started to be like, but wait, something really did happen to me. It was a little bit like the girl who cried wolf.
Right. I got it. And does she feel like, I don't want to give this away because again, this is the new side to the story, Nicole, right? So
That's right.
basically everyone thinks this happened and what was that kind of, how much did she deal with pain and suffering after they found out that this didn't happen to her? So-called didn't happen to her.
Right, right. Well, I mean, she basically lost everything. She was sentenced to prison for 18 months. She served 10 months. Her husband divorced her. He took their kids. He has not
Wow.
returned them. They're in a custody fight now. They had a post nuptial document. So she basically walked with what amounted to the clothes on her back, unlike, California law, where you split everything because of the existence of this post nuptial agreement. She lost everything. So the stakes were really, really high. And this is exactly what she predicted would happen if her husband knew the truth.
Right. And it's just it's an intriguing story, and her husband kind of really wasn't very understanding of this. Again,
He was
yeah,
not.
I'm trying to not give this away, Nicole, because it's intriguing me,
Right.
and
Right.
and I do this with authors all the time. Other people will
Yeah.
ask questions. No, you got to tune into the ID channel to make sure that you know what happened. But I'm going to want to find out what happened. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, that's right. I mean, the little bit that we can say, I think, is that Sherri insists, and this was a surprise to me when I met her. I fully expected to meet a woman who was going to tell me, I was on drugs, or I was going through a mental breakdown, or, whatever the mea culpa was. And that is not what happened at all. What she said was, what happened to me really happened to me. I did not fake my own kidnapping. I was abducted. I just lied about who did it.
Oh, and that's we're gonna find out. See, you hit us where even more now. I'm like, oh no, what does that mean? And now I'm gonna be. I mean, I watch all these stories all the time. Who's the most credible? It really is how the paint the it's the evidence that you find, Nicole. Because at the end of the day, if the other side doesn't bring enough evidence, then you start to believe her more. And you see this in a lot of these kind of cases, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I think in our culture, one of the things that we sort of expect in a criminal case always is a trial where there's going to be an airing of both sides present their best evidence and their best case, and there's testimony, and a jury or a judge comes to a conclusion. There was no trial in this case. She pleaded guilty almost immediately. And we go into the reasons why someone would plead guilty to something they maybe didn't do. So, what's out there in terms of media coverage and, documentaries that Keith has participated in is kind of standing as the historical quote unquote truth about what happened here. But what we learned is that it is significantly flawed. There are some full-on inaccuracies that have been reported, and everybody has an agenda. Sherri is not the only one with an agenda in this case.
Everyone does, and that's the problem in these cases. Now, do you feel after this airs that other people are going to come out of the woodwork saying she's lying?
They may. We talked to an awful lot of people. Uh, I think we proved in some cases that what people think they know about this case isn't accurate. But I know this. I spent more time with her than the FBI did, and I mean, we have 1,500 pages of transcripts where I am just riding her. We gave her no quarter. We were relentless. And I would like to think, I'm old, I've been doing this for a minute. I would like to think I would have gotten her to crack if there was more that she was lying about. She was surprisingly, she stuck to her story about most of it. There are a couple cracks, and you'll see them in the film. We preserve them, but yeah, I was kind of surprised, I have to say.
All right, we can check it out on the ID channel. When will it be available, Nicole?
Monday is the premiere, the 26th, 9 p.m. Eastern time, and the next night is Tuesday, the 27th.
All right, thanks again. Really appreciate it, Nicole. Thanks for stopping by.
You bet. Thank you.
All right, you're
Bye now.
listening and watching the Neil Haley Show, and we'll be back in just a moment.